Hi, my name is Lucy Counts, and I am the Ryan White Part A Project Director for the Middlesex, Somerset, and Hunterdon Transitional Grant Area.
Hi, my name is Ryan Siclari. I'm an attorney, and I am the chair of the Membership and Bylaws Committee of the Planning Council.
So this brief presentation that Ryan and I are bringing to you is to talk about the Planning Council, what it is, and why we need members. So before we get into the Planning Council, what it does and why we need those members, we would just like to give you a brief history lesson of what brought the Planning Council about. As I mentioned, I am the project director for the Ryan White program in the Middlesex, Somerset, Hunterdon Transitional Grant Area. The Ryan White program is named for Ryan White, and his mother and his family fought the cause for his life for some time after his school refused to admit him back to school once they found out about his diagnosis. Although his doctors said he was healthy enough to go back to school and did not pose a risk to any of his classmates, teachers, etc., there was a long legal battle as the school felt that he would still pose a threat. And what we can understand at that time was fear of the unknown for many individuals. So as a result of the advocacy of him and his mother and a few notable individuals who were champions for AIDS, HIV, and health, and wanting individuals to know what it was, what it looked like, and what that meant, there was also a lot of legal work that was done behind that as a result of that advocacy. And what that led to was the passing of the Ryan White Care Act in 1990. And the Ryan White program is a comprehensive system of care that provides services to people who are HIV infected that may be uninsured and underinsured. The program has been in existence for over 30 years now and provides an array of services to individuals in numerous places throughout the United States and some of the territories. There are 52 Ryan White Part A programs, of which the Middlesex, Somerset, Hunterdon Transitional Grant Area is one. What that looks like in terms of numbers in 2020 is 561,000 individuals received services through this Ryan White program. So locally, the Ryan White program provides services again to individuals who are uninsured or underinsured in Middlesex, Somerset, and Hunterdon counties. That is the area that we provide services to. And what that looks like, just in terms of small number, a little bit of numbers, is that approximately $2.8 million is allocated to services for 1,000 individuals who receive some form of service in our area, of which that could include medical care, mental health, access to fresh food, legal assistance, in some cases also rental assistance. And locally for our 3-county area, there are 13 agencies providing some form of Ryan White service to these 1,000 individuals. All right, so before Ryan gets into her part of the presentation, I just wanted to give a brief overview of what the Middlesex, Somerset, Hunterdon HIV Health Services Planning Council is. So the Planning Council is a group of members who are appointed who is responsible for making decisions regarding funding that goes to the Ryan White programs, which serve those individuals I mentioned in our area, which is about 1,000 or so, give or take. And the goal of the Planning Council is to create a seamless continuum of care that addresses the unmet needs of people with HIV and AIDS in our 3-county area. So essentially what the group is responsible for is providing access to services to individuals who otherwise would be unable to access said services, either due to lack of insurance, not being able to afford insurance, or that service not being provided elsewhere.
Okay, so now that we have some background on what the Planning Council is and where it came from, we need to kind of drill down on exactly what the Planning Council does. So the HIV Planning Council is a group of dedicated volunteers who help steer the local response to the HIV crisis. So although the Planning Council itself is one body, we do have 4 committees who focus on specific aspects of what the Planning Council does. Each committee can focus on their specific area in really great detail, and then they bring their work back to the Planning Council as a whole to review. So the 4 committees are the Executive Committee, the Membership and Bylaws Committee, the Service Standards Committee, and the Watchdogs. So I had mentioned that we have our monthly at-large Planning Council meeting, but we didn't really mention what happens at that meeting. So the Planning Council is a governing body. So we follow Robert's Rules of Order, which basically just means that we have an agenda that we follow. The chair runs the meeting, and we make motions and vote on issues. And we try to do it in an orderly fashion. So the meeting is attended by Planning Council members and guests. So anyone is welcome to attend the Planning Council meeting, and we encourage you to do so. So we hold them on the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. Now, lately we've been having them remotely via Zoom, but prior to the pandemic, we did have them in person, and they were in New Brunswick. So what happens at a Planning Council meeting? So first, we discuss current events and their impact on the HIV system of care and community. So this discussion can be as important as how the pandemic is affecting treatment, or it can be as simple as I saw a really great documentary recently on an HIV-related issue, and I wanted to bring it to the group's attention so we can discuss. So it can be really big or really small, but it's the place where we can discuss current events that impact the community. Each committee gives a report about what their committee is working on. So that really brings us to number 3 on the screen. The meetings are a place to share your opinions and be heard on issues relating to the HIV community.
I've been a member of the HIV Service Planning Council for 3 years.
And why did you decide to become a member?
And I decided to become a member because I wanted to get firsthand knowledge and experience from those who are currently living with the HIV epidemic, and those who also service them.
This is a place where not only can the Planning Council share their opinions and views, but guests are also encouraged to share their thoughts and opinions as well. Now, most importantly, we make decisions. So the Planning Council members vote on issues directly impacting the services paid for by Ryan White and the services received by people living with HIV. So our decisions really and truly impact people's lives. So what are we looking for in a Planning Council member? We're looking for advocates, people who have an interest or passion about or protecting people living with HIV. That may be themselves, their loved ones, or a friend, or all of the above. Having a person with experience in the HIV community, whether they're a person living with HIV, a provider of services, or they just demonstrate a genuine interest in learning about the community. We need someone who can commit some time to the Planning Council, someone who can attend our monthly meeting and a bi-monthly committee meeting, someone who wants to work with others and share their commitment to the community in a positive and impactful way. We need people who want to participate and they want to have a voice in how these funds are allocated. We need dedicated members, people who are committed to attending our monthly meetings and bi-monthly committee meetings, and not just attending, but really, truly participating, being informed about what we do and how we do it. Each member brings their own unique life experience to the table, and the more people and opinions and experiences that we have, the better we will be able to serve this community. So even if you aren't the person who may be a good fit, maybe you know someone, or maybe you have a client or a patient who would be a good fit to participating in the Planning Council. So what you need to remember is that everyone is a recruiter. So if you're an employee of a provider agency, your agency is receiving funding from Ryan White, which means either you yourself or you know someone, a client or a patient who would be a good member. Maybe you interact with that community member and they don't know that they're able to meet with you because of Ryan White funding. They may not even realize how this service came to be. So it's really the job of every person who comes into contact with a Ryan White recipient to make sure they know that they can have a say in how the funding for their services is allocated. So I suspect at this point, many of you are sitting there wondering, but I don't really know how to do this. How do I recruit? Well, the answer is it's different for every individual. A recruiting method that works for one person or one organization may not work the same for everyone else. For you, it may be as simple as saying to someone, I'm really glad I could help you today. I was able to help you free of charge thanks to Ryan White funding. Here's a brochure. It's a really great recruitment method. For others, they may have a group meeting where they can invite one of our awesome live flyers. What is a live flyer, you say? Well, some of our unaffiliated consumers have graciously offered to talk to groups about the Planning Council, tell them about their experience right there live in person. For others, you may be comfortable saying, hey, there's a group that allocates the funding that's helping you receive these services. I think it'd be a really good opportunity for you to have your voice heard, network with some people, and really make a difference. You should come to a meeting. Here's some information about the meetings. But whichever method you use, I think it's really important that we follow up. If they seemed like they might be interested when you shared the info, but never followed up on it, maybe they had something come up, maybe they simply forgot. It doesn't hurt to follow up with people. So we expect prospective members to have questions. There's no two ways about it. Why would they want to join this group? What's in it for them? Well, they get to meet providers, they get to make friends, they have a place to share their concerns, they have a place to find some support, network. And if they're an unaffiliated consumer, we'll make sure that if this is an in-person meeting that they have a ride to and from. When we did these things in person, we had delicious meals. And if you're an unaffiliated consumer, you still get a meal voucher for our virtual meetings too. And when you're ready, you have a place where you can tell your story and you can talk to individuals who understand and appreciate your life experience. So what's at stake if we don't continue to grow and recruit new members? At the end of the day, we lose our funding.
There's hope for change or additional help with things that are not in place, or that, it's been determined through data and also from actual, street experience that these things do work or don't work. Without the Planning Council for a newly diagnosed person that might not know anything about HIV or very importantly, why and how all these services are in place for a lot of people that chain themselves to fences in Washington, D.C. and advocated, and not just people that were positive, people that were affected by all of this. A lot of work has been done and a lot of people have gone through a lot of stigma and issues to have these services in place to help people live healthy lives and try and reduce the stigma, which is still there.
The loss of the services affects the people living with HIV who utilize those services, but it also affects the providers. So in order to keep receiving these funding and helping our community, we need to have a robust planning council